You're listening to the D Snyder Show, episode number 15. In this episode, you will discover 3 ways to stand out at work, even if you're already a high achiever, part 3.
Welcome to the Kim D. Snyder Podcast.
Welcome. I'm your host, Kim. This is a show for business leaders, consultants, and project managers to discover strategies that leverage your expertise, mindset, and innovation for more success, joy, and fun. For the show notes, go to kimdsnyder.com/015. If you're interested in having me work with leaders in your organization, go to kimdsnyder.com/hire. Let's get this party started. And this is the last of a 3-part series on how high achievers can avoid blind spots and take control of your career. And it's about putting that control back into your hands. So this doesn't matter if you have a bad boss, a weak leader, you work from home, you're doing a split shift so nobody sees you, you can take control of this. And you do this by creating assets. And assets are what you own, and they can work for you anytime, and they appreciate and value over time. So some of these tips have an entrepreneurial or intrapreneurial flair to them, because that's me. I love business and that entrepreneur approach. And so the way that you put control back into your hands for your career, the first one is your network or community. And we touched a little bit about this in part 1, but this is about really fostering those relationships, because relationships matter at the end of the day. And so making sure that you're reaching out to new existing, prospects, or not prospects, but peers and people that are areas that you want to focus on, and cultivating those relationships, because that way you have them so when they're available and you need them in the future. The second way is professional development. And so this is any type of education, professional associations and meetings that you go to, workshops, conferences. You may have to invest in this in yourself, or you may have to take time off if your company doesn't provide you. But this is that important that you need to do it. Now, if these 2 areas, the network and community and this professional development, aren't nurtured, you might acquire professional debt. And I've mentioned this before, I think in the part 2 of this series. I'll put a link again. But you can't create months and months and years worth of work and try to do it all at once. This has to be ongoing. The third area is thought leadership or expertise, or however you get results, whatever you want to call this term, but it is how you help people, customers, whoever you work with, get results. And it's your approach, your success track, the way that you've been doing this, right? So you're successful. The reason you're successful is because you've been doing these tips and these approaches and your philosophy and methodology and approaches and frameworks and shortcuts and tips. That makes you unique. And so you need to share that, because this is allowing you to share that information regardless of what other people say. I do have a post on this, and I'll put it in the show notes for you about how you can come about some of this information. The fourth way to put this control back in your hand is have online or digital presence, right? So, the first thing is your LinkedIn needs to be current, professional, and active. I don't want to go to your LinkedIn profile and see you haven't posted anything for years. Please be active on there, because it actually gets your name in front of people, and it shows people that you're a mover and a shaker. Getting out there on LinkedIn and posting stuff and commenting stuff shows that you have stuff to say. So this moves it beyond the few people that you work with and your clients to other professionals out there. The other thing is having a blog. I think that all professionals should have a blog. You can use Medium as a backup option, and I'll share links to some previous posts that will help you make a decision on that. The key thing to note here, though, is that if you don't do this, if you don't have that thought leadership and you don't have that blog or that digital presence, guess what? Your peers who you're competing against for maybe that next job, a promotion, a potential new employer, or could even be, a client. They're already out there looking for you. So if they're trying to debate between 2 candidates, 2 consultants, 2 whatever, and one has a digital presence with thought leadership and one doesn't, who do you think you're going to pick? Yeah, absolutely. They want to see what people are sharing and their thought process. Then the last step here is really controlling your info, right? So that's what that thought leadership and digital presence is. So again, you don't have to worry what people say. This is really kind of that promotion and reputation strategy, if you will, is it moves beyond those day-to-day interactions. It's about you putting information out about how you did something and approach. And so nobody can doubt it, but it's also the positive thing, which is you're controlling information so people can take that information and it's written and they can share it and use it in a way so it will help you and help them. So how do we pull all these three parts together, right? So we basically take what we did in part 2, which is that unique and bigger scope, and then we focus it on the areas that we learned in here, right? So in part 3, we're going to take these areas that we learned and we're going to share the bigger scope areas in our blog, in thought leadership, online. So that's how we're going to take care of it. We're also going to use that to talk to people in that when we're doing those networking and community calls. And then we're also going to use that to drive the professional development that we take. And then finally, we're going to roll it out or share it or study it in a schedule that we decided in part 1. So that's how we use all three pieces together. So what does that leave for action steps for us to stand out even more? 1, ensure that your LinkedIn is current, active, and professional. I'm telling you, I can't believe how many people I see this. So go please take a look at it. Make sure you have the right email address if you haven't updated it since the new job. So make sure people can get a hold of it. You get notified when people are making comments about you and you're posting stuff. 2 is decide if you'll create a blog. You don't have to, but I think it's a nice piece because it will allow you to control that. And then the third piece is decide on the day your first thought leadership piece will be. So it's probably going to be a post or, something that you've learned. Decide on the date and actually publish it. The show notes for this episode can be reached at kimdsnyder.com/015. Thank you for listening to 3 Ways to Stand Out at Work, even if you're already a high achiever, part 3 of 3. If you like the show, please leave a review on wherever you're listening or watching. It will help the information get out to others. If you need some help for leaders in your organization, let's talk. Go to kimdsnyder.com/hire. See you in the next episode.